Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Lizzie McGuire, the series, the Rundown Review, Part 2. And yes, I know it's not Women's History Month. I'm not waiting until next year. And so the video got a little too long, so I had to cut up. So this is Part 2, and let's start with the character profiles. And so let's start with Lizzie. Elizabeth, better known as Lizzie McGuire. She's this ultra sweet, like compassionate girly girl type person. Like, she's one of those type of people that just wants the best out of everybody, but she's just trying to survive that in middle school while going through all the trials and tribulations of it. And she really is like the girl version of Boy Meets World. And I feel like this show is more Girl Meets World than the actual Girl Meets World show that was on Disney Channel many years later. She's one of those type of people who really truly doesn't have no like bad bone in her body, but if you get on her nerves, like, she will sass you and everything. And the thing about her is that she goes through life not trying to like make mistakes, but she ends up doing it because, you know, she's in that crossroads of her life where she's no longer a child, but not only is she not an adult, but she's not even an older teenager. She's like, you know, in middle school. And middle school, like, for a lot of people, especially me, was one of those rough period in times. Everything was different. Especially like, for some reason, bullies just started emerging like in middle school for some bizarre reason. And she has her own bully as well in the form of Kate. Now she has two best friends, Gordo and like Miranda. And she's been best friends with Gordo since like, she was 2 years old. Not sure about Miranda, but she used to also be best friends with Kate, her future bully. But then when Kate became popular at summer camp, they just stopped being friends and became frenemies and stuff. She has these two compassionate parents and a very annoying little brother who always tries to like do his best to get on her nerves. And the chemistry between her and Jake is like priceless because you really feel that anger and she gets pissed. Because the thing about Lizzie is that Lizzie rarely ever gets like pissed off mad. She gets upset and she gets whiny and everything, but she rarely ever gets like mad. And even when she tries to be tough and intimidating, it still comes off as like sweet and caring. But when she gets pissed at Matt, there's like a whole nother like face to her and everything. And it's just like priceless and stuff. She's also a bit of a klutz. One of the coolest things about this character, in my opinion, is like she's not perfect in no way, shape, or form. Like, and if you watch the show, you would think, okay, Lizzie is a very cool character. She might not be the popular girl like Kate at school, a trendsetter, but she's popular in her own right. But one of the things she always does is she's always tripping and always falling. One of the first times we ever saw her trip and fall was on picture day because the thing is, she will protect her friends no matter what. Because like Miranda had the same outfit on as Kate, so Kate wanted to like ruin it and everything. And when Miranda, who has a bit more of an edge than like that of Lizzie, stood up to her, Kate had some boy in class like throw green paint on her. So here comes Lizzie, like, becoming like, just jumping in front of her. And when she hit the ground, literally her facial expression was just priceless and stuff. It is like one of the most adorable looking things ever. But that's the type of person Lizzie is. She will protect her friends and stand up for them and do whatever she has to for them and stuff. But she doesn't always make the best decision with her friends. She, like, even though she's not vain like Kate, she does have a jealousy side and she does have a selfish side. And, when she doesn't get her way, she will whine and she will sass people, but not as much as like Miranda. And so one of the things she gets jealous about is when her two best friends start dating other people. It's something she can't handle because she's no longer getting the attention she wants from them. And she has to learn through life that it's okay for her friends to date other people. They're still going to be her friends, but they're not always going to be there 24/7 like her and her two best friends are, because they even phone chat each other, like three-way calling, which is something back in the day most young people probably don't know about now, but there was a thing called three-way calling on the phone. And it was cool to always see the little transition, like the whole like divider lines on screen when like these three are talking to each other on the phone, because it's rare for her to just talk to one of her best friends. She always talks to like both. And she doesn't put one over against the other, but you do tend to see her hang out with Miranda a bit more, only because Miranda is the girl, and sometimes Gordo doesn't like all that mushy stuff. Because Lizzie is very much like a girly, girly girl in the way she dresses. Like everything from what she puts in her hair to like the shirts, the pants, the shoes, like you name it. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, she also has this huge crush on a dude named Ethan Kraft, which all the girls do. And she's always fanning over him. But this is the craziest thing they decided to do on the show. When they had like this dance where the girls asked the guys out, she asked him out and he totally rejected her in season 2. I was shocked and surprised, and he never really gave a real reason as to why he rejected her. He just straight up rejected her and like, I like you better as a friend. This broke her heart, and it's still strange to this day and never explained. And so it turns out in season 2, this is when they started to ship her and Gordo and everything. It was revealed by Miranda very early on in season 2 that Lizzie used to have a crush on him when they was like either in the 4th grade or 4 years old or something like that. And so all throughout season 2, it's that slow buildup of will they, won't they? And you kind of get a hint of it a little bit in season 1 when she got jealous of him dating another girl. But that was more like him just not giving her the attention and hanging out with her that much. Because she did the same thing with Miranda. And so, like, as the season will go on, you don't really see her liking him, but it's more him liking her. Like, he even tells her, because, like, she had her first kiss in the premiere of season 2 when this, like, newspaper guy started liking her who went to a different school. And so, like, they started dating. And that was, like, her real first boyfriend. And she went head over heels over him, doing the same thing that Gordo and Miranda did to their lovers and stuff. And so, like, now she realizes what they went through, and didn't get. And now she realizes that getting mad at them was like really stupid. But now here they are getting jealous at her and stuff. And so, like, this dude ended up breaking up with her. And I mean, just like breaking up with her out of the middle of nowhere, all because he found like another girl at his school and she's a whole lot closer by. So her heart is broken, and Gordo's telling her, this dude's a fool for not liking you and blah, blah, blah. That's because Gordo liked her himself. So with the really, really, really slow build up, she's starting to kind of hint he likes her, but she's not sure until Kate literally has to spell it out for him, talking about like everybody at school can see that he has a major crush on you. And she knows he does, but then she still doesn't do anything really about it because she's still hovering over Ethan Kraft, even though Ethan does not like her. And she also dates other guys in the season when she dated like Frankie Muniz and stuff. So it's like her perfect guy was right there, even though they are worlds apart, but they are best friends. So, like, he tried to build up the courage to like tell her, but he couldn't. And when Kate had to spell it out for her, she was just waiting for him to like say that he likes her, but he never did. Well, anyway, on the last official episode of like, the season, she was like just thinking about him constantly and stuff. And so on like picture day, the last day, when they do like the class like picture, she decided to kiss him on the cheek. Aw, ain't that sweet. However, this amounted to absolutely nothing when the movie came around, because the movie takes place as they graduate middle school and going to that of high school, and they decided to go to Paris. Oh, no, Italy, I think it was, for like a class trip. And when they're there, not only does her and Gordo rarely hang out, but she's like totally in love with a pop singer and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, this is not what fans wanted to see. We wanted to see her and Gordo get together and everything. Not her running around Italy with some guy that just used her and stuff. And Gordo just takes it. And I'm just kind of like, that's one of the reasons why I really don't like the movie that much. Like, it's an okay movie. It's just not what I was expecting. And so then towards the end of the movie, I think her and Gordo, it kind of looks like they might be together, might not. But then the whole movie was wasted, and he just feels like a sap, just like picking up her like leftovers and stuff. So I don't like that aspect. But the thing about Lizzie is that even though, like, she hates getting in trouble, which she does tend to do, she never looks for trouble. It just kind of finds her. Like, when she went to detention for some odd reason, I forgot why. Oh, this girl was trying to copy off her paper. That was what it was. And the teacher sent both of them to detention. She had like her bad girl moment where, this girl tried to influence her and stuff and was grooming her to be a bad girl. And she had like, some type of like, well, I guess what they consider a bad girl hairstyle and different clothes. And it was weird seeing her trying to act all grumpy and everything. But her two best friends pulled an intervention and brought her back to the Lizzie side and everything. But like, even though, like I said before, she doesn't look for trouble, and even though people are mean to her, she does have that sweet, compassionate side. Like when it comes to Tudgman. Larry Tudgman is like the most like super nerd of the show. He even wears the same outfit every episode. And he's a uber nerd, and so he has a crush on her. And when she finds out, like he asked her out on a date, and for whatever reason, she could not say no. She just felt bad, and she just felt like everybody deserves to go on like at least a date or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So she went, even though she really didn't want to go, but it was sweet of her to actually say yes. And when she went on a date with him, he actually proved to be a pretty nice and like, not so grossy kind of guy, and not so much, well, he still is a nerd, but he wasn't his gross, like worm eating, booger eating type self. And it really impressed her to the point where she was kind of digging it, but she had to let him down gently because like, she didn't want to lead him on. And that was a really good thing. Like, it was nice of her to go on this date, but it was also even nicer of her to explain that, hey, look, we're worlds apart. This ain't gonna really happen. And, it was a whole lot better than when Ethan just straight up like rejected her and stuff. And she still fanned after him after that. Then there was that Aaron Carter episode. May he rest in peace. And so, like, she wanted to, like, get his autograph and meet him. So she literally convinced her friends to, like, ditch school and sneak into, like, his shooting studio thing. And it was like around that Christmas episode. So like eventually, like, she did get to meet him. And it was a really awkward thing, especially when you look at it today. Like, she left behind something and he gave it back to her. Like, hey, is this yours? So he gave it to her. Then as he left, he turned around, grabbed her by the face and kissed her on the lips. Didn't ask for permission or nothing like that. And back in the day when I watched that, I just wasn't thinking about it. But now, living in the Me Too era and everything, or post Me Too era, he did that celebrity thing where they feel like they can just kiss you at will without asking permission, and that's a huge no-no and everything. Now, one reason for this guest appearance is because those two were dating around this time. But as we all know now, he cheated on her with Lindsay Lohan. And that was like the big internet gossip, like back in the day before the internet truly became like the internet. It was slowly becoming what we get to know it today. And like to find out this gossip was like the most TMZ type thing ever back in the day. But her character also dated Frankie Muniz. And what's interesting is that at first she didn't want to do it because he's a celebrity and she thought he might be the celebrity type. But he kept like persisting until she finally went out with him and she realized, hey, he's actually pretty cool. But the problem is they had to break up because his fans are constantly swarming him and the paparazzi. That whole fame life just became too much to where it just wasn't gonna work out. Now, in actuality, I don't think they dated. They just did a movie together in real life, the two stars. But Lizzie will also have compassion for that of her bully, Kate, because her and Kate used to be best friends. And when they had to do a project together, they started bonding and, because Kate was actually starting to have fun like she did a long time ago. But she didn't realize, like, hey, what the heck happened between us? And Lizzie had to explain she became, like, Kate became popular and just ditched her and her trio and stuff. And the thing about Kate is vicious in this show, right? And Kate does a lot of terrible things to Lizzie. Like the time they had, it was something about a statue and the head fell off. And yeah, one of those classic Simpson episodes. And so the principal wanted to know who did it. So he canceled, like, their spring dance or whatever. And so nobody could go and Kate wasn't going to confess. So Lizzie decided, you know what, she didn't want everybody in school not to enjoy themselves at the dance. So she confessed to doing it, even though she knows for a fact it wasn't her, it was Kate. And, that's the kind of person she is, that where she doesn't want other people to suffer. But the school made it up to her by, like, going to her place for the dance and leaving Kate at the school by herself. But even though Kate does a lot of vicious stuff towards her, when Kate was in trouble, Lizzie had her back. Because when Claire, Kate's best friend, kicked her out her group because she broke or she sprung like her wrist or something like that, Lizzie helped her out by teaching her how to do one hand, like, cartwheels and stuff, so that she can go back and be on, like, the cheerleading squad. And not only that, but Lizzie has had her back multiple times in this series, to where Kate's cousin, played by Hilary Duff's real life sister, threw like a party at Kate's place, and like, Lizzie had to like break up that party by calling her parents and stuff. And it's really interesting to see, like, the protagonist of the show comfort that of like the antagonist and literally look out for them. And that is really the type of person like Lizzie truly really is. She doesn't care who you are or what you do. She will be nice to you no matter what, even if you don't be nice to her back. And of course, Kate was constantly being rude to her after all the times Lizzie had her back. Except for the movie when Kate just started being nice all of a sudden, which was kind of weird. Like, that movie was just like off on so many levels. Now, like I said before, one of the most famous episodes is the bra episode. It's where Lizzie really wants a bra, but her and Miranda have no idea how to like even pick them out. And Miranda does not want to tell nobody they have to go start looking for bras because they're starting to develop. And Kate's already starting to develop, so they just feel embarrassed. And that's something a lot of young girls experience in their lives. That when other people start to develop before they do, and they're the same age as them, it could be a very frustrating thing for them. And it's something you tend to always hear girls talk about and stuff. And so, like, it's an episode that I feel was very educational for like a lot of people. Even though the subject matter might not be something that Disney will tackle today. And so when they are at the mall, Lizzie is rude to her mom and is all like, I don't want you here, and we can do this ourselves, and we're adults now, and blah, blah, blah. So when they are looking for bras, they literally have no idea what they are doing because it is so difficult and stuff. And it's one of those things where she had to suck up her pride and tell her mom, like, hey, I need help and everything. Now, Lizzie is the type of person who does get in trouble. She doesn't look for trouble, but she always gets in trouble. And one of those episodes is where she wants a brand new, like, $100 pair of jeans or whatever. It's either like 100 or 50 or something like that. And her mom is all like, look, I can get you some really nice pants for like a bargain and everything. And they're a whole lot cheaper and they might come from like a thrift store, but they're really nice. And so Lizzie doesn't care. She doesn't want used looking pants. She wants something new and like, flashy and stuff like that. So her and her friends end up buying the new pants and she plans on wearing them only to return them the next day at the store and get the money back. Only there's a problem. She is a klutz and she ends up ruining the pants. And so like when her mom gives her like, thrift like store pants and everything, everybody in school actually loves those more. And her mom literally like, did the whole like Black Friday like day shopping thing where she's like in the store running around with coupons upon coupons upon coupons and everything. And Lizzie literally realized that like her mom went out her way to get her some really nice pants and she couldn't even like appreciate it. And that's the thing I love about this show is like a lot of life lessons taught. Like when her mom and parents didn't want her to go to like a party because there's going to be no supervision there. And so they thought, oh, they could handle it, but realized, oh no, this party is getting completely out of hand and they literally hid in the closet. Other important episodes that taught Lizzie like life lessons is like when she wanted to take more responsibility but was not ready for it. Like when she wanted to babysit her younger brother when she was still very young herself at age 13. And she just thought, oh, it'll be like, a breeze, but her little brother's a pain in the butt. Not to mention it can get really scary alone at night by yourself. Then there was the episode where she wanted to be more independent and she wanted a job. And so she got one at the place that her and her friends always hang out. But the problem is she couldn't handle the stress because like her boss was like really mean. Kate was being rude and just throwing stuff on the floor, and other customers were very high in demand. So she literally snaps and she just starts shouting at everybody, venting and everything. And her father tells her that something you don't like doing, you shouldn't do it, and do a job that you actually do like. I hate that lesson. I hate when people say that. You need money to survive in this world. You need a job and everything. And sometimes you just have to work at a place you just don't want to work at because you're not always going to get your dream job. And so that episode has not aged very well. Another episode that hasn't aged very well, kind of has and kind of hasn't. It was the episode where Disney Channel tried to teach people to respect other people's cultures and like, countries and stuff. I commend Disney Channel for doing this, especially in 2001. You see a lot of this now in modern day, like television and Hollywood and stuff. But this was back in a time where people could really care less about respecting other people's, like, religions, cultures, races, and stuff like that. And so there's this new foreign exchange student from Indonesia, and like he doesn't speak English very well. He can say his name, and that's about it. And so Lizzie and everybody else in the class is just like laughing at him because they think it's funny that he can't speak English and he doesn't understand certain phrases and stuff. And this is typical amongst young people and just ignorant people at that, and people who just aren't aware of other people's cultures and stuff. And so her teacher, Mr. Diggs, is explaining to the class about like African traditions where people put like a disc in their lip to make it like stand out more because it's considered like attractive and this and that. And so people in the class were kind of like, oh, that doesn't sound attractive. That sounds like dumb or whatever. And he explains to them, well, you dressing the way you do might be considered dumb to them and everything. And that's because, people have different preferences. People have different things that attract them and everything. And, cultures are so different around the world. It's just not one type. Like even take like the English language and everything. The way American English is completely different from Euro English and stuff, with different slang terms and just all kind of different things. And of course, when you hear that, you might be all like, oh, why can't they just speak normal or at normal and talk like real English where they actually are? And because they invented it and everything. It's us who have a different like variant of it and stuff. And so this episode is supposed to highlight that. And so they show Miranda's cousin. And originally, the kids were watching this Mexican game show, which is completely different from like American game shows, right? And they're just like so fascinated by it. And so Miranda's cousin is going to be on it, and he needs 3 other people to play with him. So they want to go. The problem is they don't speak Spanish. And Miranda only speaks like a little and stuff, even though her character is like Mexican. So while they're there on the game show and everything, the only person who speaks Spanish happens to be in a confinement box where they can't hear him. And so now the 3 kids, the trio, is like screwed. So they're trying to figure out what this like word means in Spanish and how they're supposed to play the game. They don't know, and they just start like making a mess on set. And so all the people on the show who happen to be like Hispanic and everything are laughing and making fun of them. And so right then and there, you see animated Lizzie speaking her mind, and you have to listen very fast and quick. She basically is saying is that everybody's pointing and laughing at me and making fun of me. And now I know how that one kid feels at school. And it's like, aha, the light bulb has clicked and everything, She now realizes what this guy is going through when people are laughing at him for not understanding English because she doesn't understand Spanish. And so this is supposed to be, hey, okay, keep building on that, right? Keep building on how you're supposed to respect other people's cultures. Well, Disney Channel does what Disney Channel does best, and instead of going deeper into it, they decide to just make like a joke about it. So it's one joke after another joke, and the kids are just throwing like cream corn at each other, just having fun. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be learning a lesson. And never once does she say this out loud to Miranda and Gordo, but she just says it in her head. This was supposed to be a pivotal learning moment for her and Gordo and Miranda and everybody watching. And they fumbled the ball on that by just making jokes of them throwing corn at each other and stuff. And so but then they tried to make it up in the classroom when they're supposed to pick a country and talk about it. She decided, hey, I'm gonna pick Indonesia, where that boy is from, and explain to the class, you shouldn't make fun of other people's cultures because they talk different than you and act different than you. And then it ends. And so it's kind of like, okay, I get the gist of what they was trying to do, and I'm happy they attempted it. However, it kind of falls flat when you don't go deeper as to why it's hurtful to make fun of other people's language and have people laugh at you. It should have been a pivotal moment where when they're, instead of throwing corn, they all be like, why is everybody laughing at us? And Like, why are they treating us this way? It's because you treat other people differently from other countries. So they really fumbled the ball on that by not really going in deep on it. But I guess Disney Channel, they're too afraid of doing that back in the day. So they're like, okay, let's just end it like on a joke and have everybody laugh. They tend to do that with a lot of serious episodes and everything, where they tend to end it on like a funny note and everything. And this is truly my all-time favorite performance of Hilary Duff. Like, out of everything I've seen her in, this is just like my all-time favorite. And like, she's had a music career after this, she's had a movie career, and she's appeared in like, two shows, one in which she co-starred in and one in which she was the main star. David Gordon, better known as Gordo, and he was played by Adam Langbird. And Gordo was a cool dude. He was more laid back than that of Lizzie and Miranda, and he's their best friend. Like, that dude was lucky to have two best friends who are girls, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, the thing about Gordo is, like I said before, he kind of has this alternative grunge, hipster type look where he always wears a shirt and another shirt over it, and he loves to play hacky sack. But he is the brains of like the group. He is like extremely smart. And one of his rivals is Tudgman, because Tudgman is smarter than him. But like, the thing about him is that he's so laid back, he doesn't care about what people think of him. He's one of those type of people who doesn't seem to like the establishment. He doesn't like when the man sticks it to you. He's his own free spirit, and he tries to be different than that of everybody else. He doesn't want to be part of the norm. He's his own person, and that's what I always liked about that character. He's not trying to fit in, he's just being his own self. And because like, there was one episode where like, he they say it's 1960s music, but I don't know. It sounded a little bit like 1930s, but he liked old school type music. That was his thing, like Rat Pack type stuff, jazz, blues type music. And he used to dress like, one episode like the way people did back in those days. And when Ethan Kraft, who's a popular guy, got a hold of that music and then later gave it to Kate, who's a trendsetter, everybody in his class in school, in his grade level, started dressing and acting and talking the way he did, and he hated it and stuff because he no longer felt like he had his own individuality. Because the thing is, he strives to be different from everybody else. And Lizzie and Miranda, they're like, look, man, we're finally cool. Everybody likes doing what you like to do. Now we like doing it. But he's all like, it's just pretend. You're only pretending to like this. And they're just a bunch of like yuppies who are like, following the popular kids and stuff. Because when he does it, it's actual genuine and stuff. And so they had this party that was similar to like the 1960s style with the music and stuff, and he didn't want to like go to it and stuff. But he realized that after talking to some people that he can either like be like happy hanging out with his friends and enjoying his type of music, or he can just sulk and like be upset and play with like paper planes that he just doesn't like. And so eventually he went. And one of the interesting things about Gordo is that he's not the girly girl type, like likes to do like the mushy stuff that they do. So whenever they do it, he just wants to like throw up and everything. So it's like he's not a follower in the sense of even his own like clique and everything. And so he tends to hang out with Matt whenever they start to do some really girly stuff, until Matt becomes too attached to him like a brother. And he's all like, hey, look, man, it was nice hanging with you and everything, but I gotta get back to my best friends and stuff. And he's also one of those kind of like smug, smart people where he will look down on like a dumb person. Like he looks down on Kate because Kate's a bully and she's mean, but he also looks down on Ethan. And Ethan actually really likes Gordo a lot. He thinks he's like the coolest person in the world because he's so smart. But, Gordo literally looks down on Ethan and calls him like an airhead and stuff. Now, trying to think what else. Oh, so when you look at Gordo, he looks Jewish, and it is confirmed he is Jewish in the show. And like when it comes to do best friends and like the show, they tend to have about 2 or 3 solo episodes to themselves. And one of them is his bar mitzvah, where he's about to become a young man, but he doesn't know exactly what that means. So he has to get advice from some of the older males in like the show. And one of those is Lizzie's like, dad. His parents are very uptight. His dad likes to plan everything like ahead. He even likes to make plans for plans. His mom is a bit more nicer and eccentric and stuff like that. I think it's really cool that they, that Disney was willing to show like religion on like, their show. And not only religion, but a religion that's like different from the norm. Because normally if you see religion on the show, it's normally Christianity. But they actually show like the Jewish faith and everything in his bar mitzvah. And that was very fascinating. Like I said before, these were different times on Disney Channel days. Something you'll never see no more for the most part. And they're trying to do a little bit more cultural stuff, but it's not really like, clicking the way they want it to. And they're starting to abandon that now. And so he has like a huge crush on like Lizzie. And so one interesting thing, other than like that crush, which I'll get into a little bit later, is that in season 2, his personality started to change, and so did his like fashion sense. He started wearing like a jacket over his clothes for some bizarre reason, and he started playing less hacky sack. Like you never saw him do it no more. And not only that, but you start seeing him eat more and always talking about food and how he always wants to eat. And you have to put 2 and 2 together. He's becoming a growing boy. He's becoming more, wanting to like eat more like a lot of guys do and stuff like that. And I like how like they showed it and then have to like explain it to us and stuff, but it really did change his personality because now he's the type of person that will kind of live on the edge a little bit more. Like he used to be the person be like, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. They're like, that's wrong. But in the second season, he's actually convincing Lizzie to do like bad stuff. And it's because of his personality shift and everything. Now his crush on Lizzie has been there from like the start in their life, but he's never had the courage to like explain it to her. And it had to hurt to see her like Ethan Kraft, who's like this popular guy, which is another reason why he doesn't like Ethan. Because Ethan literally has the affection of the girl he likes and he doesn't like it. But in the show, he actually dates a girl, Kyla Pratt's character. And, that was really cool in season 1. And I think they even kiss, which is really shocking to be on like a Disney Channel show and see something like that. And so like one of like, the saddest episodes was when like he liked this girl named Piper, I think her name is. I can't remember. And she thought he was really cool at playing basketball. So that made Miranda and Lizzie think, oh, she must like you or something like that. You should ask her out, something like that. So he does, and she totally rejects him. And the reason for that is because he's short and she likes tall guys. Now she's short herself, but she's one of those girls who just has like a vain preference of liking really tall guys like Ethan. So this pisses him off even more to disliking Ethan. And that really had to hurt. Boy, I remember that in college. Like it was this really tall girl, about like 5'11" or 6 foot, and I liked her, and she didn't like me because she's like, you're short. So he has to get some advice from like his teacher and be all like, you might not be short for the rest of your life, but he is. Pretty much all the 3 main stars are still the same height they were on the show. And so they're like around my height and everything. And that had to been like a really hurtful thing for him to get rejected. But at least he had a reason to why he got rejected, as opposed to Ethan just not wanting to date like, Lizzie. But like his crush will always be there for like Lizzie. But it really sucks how in the movie he's just there, and he's there helping Lizzie date this other guy, which is something he tends to do on the show, like with Frankie Muniz character. Well, actually, Frankie Muniz played himself, but like, in order to get Frankie away from like the mob of fans, Gordo had to dress like Frankie and pretend to be him and run out. And that really sucks because, he's having to be like the third wheel, or not third wheel, but he's having to be like the middleman to her trying to date other guys. And that just totally sucks. Now, one of Gordo's like, hobbies is he loves to make videos and movies and stuff like that. So in the first season, you always saw him have like a camera in his hand and recording stuff. One of those things he did is when he ended up recording stuff and forgot to turn off the camera, and he captured people's conversations. So he started doing that all the time in one episode. And it's an invade of privacy and everything. And so Lizzie and Miranda, they was cool with this until it happened to them. And Miranda was seen talking smack about the school and all the teachers. So he was going to put that as his presentation for his video, like essay type thing. And they are like, no, you can't do that. That'll ruin me. But he wanted to do it anyway. He's all like, it's my right to do that. So what he did instead is he blurred out people's faces and changed their voices. So nobody knew who they were in the video. Like when Kate said that she literally failed a grade and she's a lot older than the rest of her class and everything. Another episode is when he was talking to this one guy in like the TV business, and he kind of changed Gordo's personality the way he wanted Gordo to like basically keep it real and everything, tell people how it is, be assertive and everything. He goes overboard with this and like, just starts being rude to like everybody and stuff. But it takes him a while to figure out like what he's doing is wrong and how he's talking down to people and stuff. I do like the episodes where Gordo needs some like advice. So he always going to like an older male figure like Lizzie's dad or his teacher, Mr. Diggs and stuff. Because even he can't figure things out on his own. And it is nice to show that while the girls are going through self-reflection and growth and stuff like that, he is also as well. Now, there's one episode where Gordo literally goes to high school. He was able to, like, because he was so smart, he was allowed to advance and go to, like, the 9th grade and stuff. This upsets Miranda and especially Lizzie because they don't have their best friend no more. I liked how they showed everybody in high school was way taller than Adam. Even though Adam is the oldest of the younger group on the show, he is 2 years older than Lelaine and 3 than that of Hillary. And I think when the show ended, I think he was like 18 years old and stuff. And so like it showed the difficulties he had in high school, like, with the older kids bullying him around, being much taller than him, making fun of him, like all kind of stuff. And I wish they would have delved a bit more into that. Other than like, Lizzie and them like just missing him and stuff like that. But it is a nice enough montage to where you see that he just can't handle high school. And like the decision he made was just like too fast. And so he decided to go back to middle school and everything. Because it was just, he just wasn't ready for it. Like he's not that mature for it yet. And he had no friends. And he misses his 2 best friends, When it comes to Gordo, it's even like a credit card episode, which this comes from like Married with Children, when the doll end up getting a credit card. So somehow Gordo ends up getting a credit card and he doesn't want it and he's not going to keep it. But Lizzie and Ethan convinces him to like, keep it and use it and this and that. And so he gets tempted at one point, but decides not to. But then he realizes he can produce his own like video movie type thing. Well, because he has a credit card, he figures he can just buy whatever he wants. And then when they send him the bill, like a week or a couple of weeks later, he can like pay like a small bill on it, right? And he goes overboard with it, like constantly buying the best type of makeup and prosthetics and all this other stuff. And so as he's making his movie, they have to order for pizza, but his card gets declined because he went over his $5,000 limit. And you think somebody like him would be smart enough not to do something like that. But, he gave in to temptation because he really wanted his dream to come true of making a good movie. This is when I said that his character is evolving much differently than that of the first season. So his parents aren't really even mad at him and don't really punish him. Basically, what happened is this: they fussed out the credit card company, talking about how can you give a kid like a credit card, and like, but they took his allowance to pay for like the credit card. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this was a good like a good episode to where he could have really learned the lesson. They should have forced him to get like a job and pay for it himself, instead of fussing out the credit card company, and basically they're gonna pay it off themselves with his allowance. After like how many years has this been now? About like 23 years or so. Some episodes have not ended very well, like I said before. They ended in an odd kind of way, and when you think about it now, it's like it should have ended completely differently. Kind of like this next topic. When his grandmother came into town, Doris Roberts, may she rest in peace, and like, he's all like excited, right? Because he loves his grandmother and he hasn't been around her in a good while. Well, when she comes back, because her husband's dead, she is completely different. She's kind of having like a little bit of a midlife crisis, kind of, but not really. But basically, what it is that she felt like this: her kids are all grown, taken care of, her grandkids are getting older. It's time for her to live her life. So she went to like a bunch of Asian countries, learned their customs. She uses chopsticks to eat. She loves eating Asian food. And a lot of things have now changed about her. She even rearranges her home to look more like Asian inspired. She no longer cooks a brisket. Instead, she orders out for Chinese. And now she changed her name to Gorgeous and everything. Gordo does not like this whatsoever. Gordo likes for everything to stay the same. And he's really pissy about the entire thing, talking about how that's his grandmother and he doesn't even recognize her no more, and she's acting differently and she's dressing differently and all this other stuff. Basically, if he don't get his way, he's upset, wanting to control the situation like most men do. This is very shocking coming from Gordo, and even Lizzie points that out to him, talking about, you're all about being a free spirit and being who you want, so why can't she? But he doesn't want her to, because he wants her to come back and take care of him and make him briskets and crap like that. Being very, very, very selfish and completely different from that of season 1. So then when she's at Lizzie's place, because she's looking for Gordo, see, Lizzie's parents are sick with the flu. I really appreciate them being sick with the flu. So very realistic, especially though when they kissed in season 1. That is rare for Disney Channel parents to actually kiss on the lips. I'm telling you, man, these were different times back then. And so Lizzie and Matt have decided we're just gonna do whatever we want while our parents are sick. We're gonna eat pizza for breakfast. We're gonna like mess up the house and jump on the like sofa and all this other crap. Well, when Gordo grandmother gets there, her and Lizzie have a talk. And Lizzie tells her about her grandmother. And talking about how, because like even like Gordo's grandmother used to call him David, but now she calls him Gordo, trying to be hip and everything. And she tells her that, Gordo just wants his grandmother back and blah, 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 and all this other stuff and the way he used to treat him. And, like before, she told Lizzie the reason why I'm doing all this stuff now is because I'm living my life and everything. Everybody else is now grown and I can finally have some freedom. But then she decides that she's kind of gonna go back to her old ways because she feels bad that Gordo is missing out on something that he used to have, his grandmother's attention and everything, and like doing nice, sweet little stuff for him. So after she takes care of Lizzie's parents and everything, and that's like a grandmother or a mother, I should say, then she's back to cooking him briskets and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, no, live your life like you're old. Do whatever you want. Your kids are grown. Do what you want to. That is your life to live. You don't cater to nobody else hand and foot and make them food just because they like it when grandmother does it. So I don't know why it ended like that. Like I said before, some episodes just hasn't ended very well. But this was over 20 years ago. Now, after the Lizzie McGuire movie, he did about 3 more projects and then he just left like Hollywood. Adam did. And so he got like, his school on and everything. I think now he works with something that has to do with art and music. Like at like kind of like this kind of like a pub or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.